Matt, do you think I had time to run out to the car and back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's.
Sure.
Police Chief. Okay, ready to go? Okay, so at about 11:15 this morning, 911 received a call for a structure fire at 11220 East Colfax Avenue. That's the Ranger Motel. Aurora Police and Fire responded, and they were confronted by a male with a knife. He was staying in room number 47, and room number 47 was on fire. The suspect retreated to room number 49, and the occupant of room number 49 fled. This is on the second floor of the two-story motel. The suspect then barricaded himself inside room number 49, and we had reason to believe that he had set the fire. Officers spent an hour communicating with him and trying to de-escalate the situation. Negotiators pleaded with him to surrender and to drop the knife. The officers evacuated the surrounding rooms of the hotel and located witnesses that said they saw him set the fire. At approximately 12:32, or an hour and 15 minutes into this event, he exited the room with a knife in his hands and ran in the direction of one of our officers. At that point, shots were fired. I don't know exactly how many shots were fired. 3 officers fired. Aurora Fire Rescue, a medic assigned to the SWAT team, immediately provided medical care to the suspect, and he was promptly transported to the hospital, where he was pronounced deceased. The suspect has a significant criminal history that includes a conviction for murder, for which he was currently on parole. The 18th Judicial District Critical Incident Response Team is leading the investigation and will determine the facts and circumstances that led up to the shooting. We have somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 to 20 witnesses to this event. These include civilians, includes police officers, and firefighters. However, if there are any additional witnesses out there, we would love to talk to them. They can contact us or call Metro Denver Crime Stoppers. And in addition, if there is any available video, we would like to get our hands on that as well. I know that there were at least 2 television stations out there that took video of this event. We believe there's likely to be video on private cell phones or for witnesses in the area. We would love to have access to all of that information. With that, the family of the deceased has not yet been notified. We'll leave it to the coroner's office to release the name. And following this press conference, the PD, the Aurora PD, will have no further comment on this event because the investigation is being led by the 18th Judicial District Critical Incident Response Team. But with that, I'll take a couple of questions. Are there any questions? Yes?
Can you characterize, is this a hotel like a month-by-month rental? Is it,
It's one of quite a few on Colfax Avenue in Northwest Aurora that are short-term rental properties.
Was the fire control efforts hampered by the incident? Or
Yes, they were. Initially, they were hampered by the fact that he was there confronting the firefighters with a weapon. But the firefighters were able to get the fire out and then retreated. Our officers evacuated the rest of the building, and we had this standoff for an hour, and every effort was made to negotiate with him to surrender. So, anything else?
Chief, the initial fire was in room 47, is that what you said?
Correct.
And then he went to room 49, that's where the standoff.
Correct. And again, I should point out that, as with any of these events, all the information I have for you is preliminary. It's the best available information we have right now, maybe subject to some changes. My information at this time was that he was renting the room that he set on fire. He then retreated into another room, and that occupant fled. Negotiations took place with him in that room for about an hour, and he chose to come at an armed police officer with a rather large knife.
Did they tell him to put the knife down before they shot him?
I'm sorry?
Did they tell him to put the knife down before they shot him?
Yes, they were attempting to convince him to surrender for over an hour, and that was part of the discussions during that time.
Did he have 1 knife or 2 knives?
My understanding is that we've recovered multiple knives at the scene. So.
without going into this case, but can you describe describe the general or the protocols for the police department with being confronted with someone with a knife, just the distance they have to come within?
Yes, the officers were at significant distance, but he charged one of the officers. So there was an attempt at standoff. There was also an attempt by several officers to fire less lethal rounds at the same time. But given that he was charging one of the officers, you know, several officers did fire their rifles.
Did some officers actually get off rounds from the taser? Or rounds?
It was actually the 40 millimeter sponge round. My understanding is at least 2 officers got those rounds off. Anything else?
Are we able to get a description of the deceased at this time?
He is a male white, age 51. Age 51. We're not releasing his name. As I said, his family has yet to be notified, and that's an important step, and it'll be up to the coroner to release his name.
Do we know if he stayed before in the hotel?
I'm sorry?
Do we know if he stayed before in the hotel?
I don't have that information. That's the kind of detail that the investigative team will get into, all right? And yes,
The murder he was convicted of, do you know when that happened?
I understand it's 2005. 28-year sentence.
Do you know how many deaths have resulted from officer-involved incidents this year compared to last year?
I don't know the number. Do we have any this year? I don't know. We'll get that back to you, Matt. I don't want to speculate, okay, since I've only been here a month. All right, okay, thank you very much, folks.